Good morning.
Good morning.
Our message today is about eternal blessings. But before I address the subject matter, I want us all to just take a moment, if we will, to say happy birthday to our eternal blessing, Reverend Lisa. She's close to that number. So, we sang at the first service. Y'all feel like singing happy birthday? I know there are other October birthdays, and we love you too. But it's for Reverend Lisa. You ready?
Yep. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Reverend Lisa. Happy birthday to you.
And everybody else who's having an October birthday, I'm going to let us this today, and all your October birthdays will bless you as well.
And Mother Bliss.
Mother Bliss, you got a birthday today too? Your birthday gone already? You got a card from me up there. Did you get a card from me? No. Okay, all right. I'm busted. What can I say? Eternal blessings. You know, when I took a look at that topic, I thought about it and I said, you know, that word eternal, that's a big word. You know, it means existing at all times, everlasting, enduring, perpetual, timeless, and most importantly, undying. You know, now blessings, you know, that's another thing. You know, most of us are looking for a blessing. That's why we play the lottery. Because we're looking for that blessing. And most of us feel that whenever we receive something that we desire, that's a blessing. Whenever an unexpected material or spiritual experience brings us joy and satisfaction, that's a blessing. When there's a reversal or an elimination of an undesirable condition, that's a blessing. Anything conducive to one's happiness and well-being is considered a blessing. But a blessing can be something as simple as saying grace over a meal. And it can be as simple as saying Jesus wept. But Charles Fillmore gives us a definition that resonates within me, and I want to share it with you. Charles Fillmore says a blessing is a quickening of spiritual power that produces growth and increase. I know when our pockets are full and our stomachs are full, that's a blessing. I know when we overcome something, that's a blessing. But Charles Fillmore gets to the heart of the matter, or should I say, the root of every situation when he says, your blessing is a quickening of the spiritual power within you that produces that growth and that increase. The preacher would say, joy comes when you keep your mind stayed on Jesus. What he's telling you is when your thoughts are Christ-like, positive expressions are the results. The question that we ask ourselves is, how do we keep our thoughts pure? How do we keep those thoughts wholesome and life-giving at all times? That's a big question. You know, it appears to be a tall order. For some think it's next to impossible to maintain a constant state of bliss, happiness, and satisfaction. That's why in some places they don't even try. They say, just give it to Jesus. He'll handle it for me. I'm just a lowly sinner saved by grace. I can't do anything for myself. But whether it's the old-time religion or even a new thought philosophy, they both declare that all things are possible with God. And if we truly believe that God is good all the time, if we're convinced whatever the condition or circumstance, our charge is to seek and find the blessing in it, then our eternal blessings are not just possible, they become our truth. Our perception, our thoughts reveal our blessing, but they also reveal our curses. Ernest Holmes in our chapter tells us this, chapter 16, he says, we will experience eternal blessings when we gain complete spiritual understanding of ourselves. Oh yeah, you got to take some responsibility in this thing. He says, we will experience eternal blessings when we gain complete spiritual understanding of ourselves. He goes on to say we can demonstrate control over our conditions, not by denying them, but by looking beyond what exists and seeing something greater. Yeah. He tells us there is no limit to the law except our understanding of it. Our eternal blessings, you know, are absolutely the will of God. He doesn't have any other plan for you other than your eternal blessings. You see, the will of God is everything we desire as long as we don't harm somebody else getting it. Right. You see, the troubles of this world, they exist because we, humankind, we got things a little twisted. We put our desires, our will, in charge of everything that we sought to do. The kings, the emperors, all those in charge, they decided it would be their will that would be done and not God's will that would be done. When the Lord's Prayer clearly states is thy will be done. That's with a capital T. Thy will, God's will must be done. Ernest Holmes says the will of God is not subject to evil or limitations because God's will is always good. But we took what we wanted, denying everyone else of their liberty and human rights in some situations. You see, we even created religions based on the story of Jesus, but void of the actual nature that Jesus lived by. Y'all know I tell you all the time, there was a time in my life when I was a little bit on the militant side. And I have spent days since then overcoming, releasing, allowing that attitude to flee away from me. But not being as perfect as I'd like to be, every once in a while I'll get an idea. When we were traveling last month and we were walking through these big, beautiful churches with gold inlaid ceilings, and the guide was telling us about how much of millions and thousands of dollars it took to create these big edifices that we worship in. And we go through the museums and they have all these statues of these great kings and queens and emperors and people who supposedly discovered something. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And I stand there for a second, it hits me. How did they amass all of this wealth? How did they get all of the control of all the land, all over the world? And it dawns on me that they did it by taking advantage of someone else. And for a minute I lose sight of what I should be thinking. But then I catch myself and I realize that it's not for me to dwell on or live in the past. After all, I kick my feet up on my coffee table and watch TV or fall asleep watching TV in a comfortable environment. And I don't get those thoughts when I'm doing that. And that same attitude is what made this country what it is. So I have to realize that it's my job to find peace of mind within myself. It's my job to reveal and demonstrate the essence and nature of the Christ. It's my job to affirm a consciousness that embraces all of humanity, and that as they find their way back to the original image and likeness in which they were created. To let you know that there's a difference between wealth and true prosperity and eternal blessings. Fame and fortune can be achieved at the expense of others. But prosperity and eternal blessings can only be gained by discovering your true spiritual self. A successful life is not predicated on how much gold and silver you have in your pocket. A successful life is predicated on the goal of spiritual understanding, not the coin of the realm. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying you don't need to have some money. I'm not even saying money is bad. Money is a good thing. It's a great tool for us to use in the right way. But what I'm saying is your eternal blessings are not going to be based on your material wealth. It's going to be based on your spiritual understanding. Abraham, the father of faith, he moved around a lot before he established a firm faith. But the Bible tells us that once he did that, he was blessed immensely. He had no need, no wants, no desires for anything. Genesis chapter 24, verses 31 through 37. Laban is inviting some folk into his home. He says, "And I said to him, 'Come in, you blessed of the Lord. Why do you stand out there in the street? For I have prepared a house and a place for the camels.' So the men came into the house, ungirded the camels, and gave straw and hay for the camels, and was given water to wash his feet and to wash the feet of the other men who were with him. And there was food set before them. And Abram's steward said, 'I will not eat until I have told my errand.' And they said, 'Speak on.' And he said, 'I'm Abram's servant. And the Lord has blessed my master greatly, so that he has become great. And he has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, manservants and maidservants, and camels and asses. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old. And to him he has given all that he has. And my master made me swear, saying, 'You must not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell. But you shall go to my father's house and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son.'" Laban asked a question, and Abram's servant gave him an answer. You see, Laban represents pure motives, pure thoughts. And it was those pure motives and thoughts that invited them into the house. That house is a place of regeneration. It's a place that allows you to establish your power. But Abraham served the one who had the power to carry out the wishes and desires, was given a task to wash the feet, meaning get an understanding of mental potential and deny those material desires. He was offered ideas of truth. The scripture calls it food. But he said, I can't eat until I become conscious of my eternal blessings. I'm not going to take part in this until I'm able to demonstrate my truth. I can't comprehend, but you got to speak your truth. You got to complete your complete assignment that was given to you by God. The book goes on to tell us that Abraham's faith caused him to be greatly blessed. He was given flocks, which are higher expressions of thoughts. He was given herds, which are thoughts under spiritual direction. He was given the silver of wisdom and love. He was given the gold of spiritual understanding. And he had masculine and feminine desires were all fulfilled. Those camels represent power, strength, endurance, and perseverance. The asses represent mastery over the physical and obedience to a higher power. You see, in those days, when you rode upon the donkey, you exemplified royalty. You exemplified those that in consciousness have overcome the physical handicaps and limitations and now embrace a higher power, a higher way of spiritual living. When you do all these things, and you can do it all, but once you do it, then your wife, that intuitive knowing power, will overcome all the negativity of the race consciousness and negative experiences that she's had throughout her years and many, many years of living, and she'll give birth to a new idea of herself, which is your son. And that son is going to inherit everything. The spiritual influence of the soul is going to yield an eternal blessing for the son. Your wife, your loving affections, and your son become expressions of spiritual truth that live within your spiritual body. You see, it was Abraham's constant faith that resulted in the power to accomplish all that he desired. That power is eternal. That power is always available. That power is awaiting your spiritual recognition. Eternal blessings, they are around us all the time. Eternal blessings abound when the presence of God, the power of God, and the Spirit of God is always in play. Eternal blessings require an unwavering faith that sees beyond the appearance of lack, limitations, and despair. We must stand firm in the knowing that every action of God is an eternal blessing. I didn't say just the one that you like. I didn't say just the one that makes you happy. I didn't say just that big surprise birthday party that they gave you. The eternal blessings is every action of God. God's creation is forever evolving and revealing his eternal blessings. The evolution of God is always being revealed through the evolution of man's consciousness. You know, the story that starts off this book in Genesis 1 and 2, it tells us about this great idea that God had and this great manifestation that came out of this idea, and it created the heavens and the earth. It created humankind and gave him dominion and control over all those things that came before him. But as great and magnificent as Genesis describes the original unfoldment, it continues to evolve and become more. We used to use a club to go hunting for our food. Now the lazy hunters use an AK-47. We used to travel in luxury when we were riding in a stagecoach. Now those of us who have the money can travel in a private Learjet to our destination. There was a time when you needed to know something, you picked up the phone and you called 411 and you asked to speak to the operator. Now you just ask Siri for whatever it is you choose to do. If we can be blessed with the upward movement of mind in this earthly atmosphere, imagine how expansive our eternal blessings are on the spiritual plane. There's no one in this room that denies they were created in the image and likeness of an all-powerful God. But our spiritual growth must mirror the deity's ethereal expression. We've come a long way, but we have potential that's unlimited. All 66 books in this Bible describe different stages of our evolution from physical limitations to spiritual confirmation. Luke 12 and 31 says, "Seek wisdom, and all else will be added to you." That means everyone in here can get a doctorate in spiritual understanding. That's right. You can get a PhD in spiritual understanding. And you don't have to go to a university to get it. The total essence of it can't be had in an online class. That great evolution of thought is revealed to all who connect with the divine presence within them. Be it the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, the Vedas, or the Sutras, they all reveal a universal spiritual understanding that, when metaphysically transcribes, discovers and delivers your eternal blessings. God speaks in all languages, to all cultures, and avails no exclusivity. All have access to the opportunity to reveal its nature in their living. God answers prayer in any language and for all denominations. Eternal blessings are initiated by every spiritual mind treatment that recognizes the presence of God, that unifies with the power of God and realizes its truth, then shows gratitude for the opportunity and has faith in that promise. Yes, prayer does change things. But how do we find an eternal blessing in our perceived daily trials and tragedies? I said, how do we find our eternal blessing when things don't go as we want them to go? We must remember that we are the greatest of all God's creations. We think and we make choices. We have the birthright to demonstrate the characteristics of our Holy Father. We all watch plants. These plants, they wither and they die, only to naturally receive the soil and reproduce themselves. The wild beasts, the wild animals that roam this planet, they prey on each other for survival. Yet the cycle of life is replenished in every species. The stars in the sky collide and they explode, only to multiply the light and produce more energy and resources. As great and magnificent as these elements of God's creation are, their level of existence, their lifestyle, all remains the same. What they do, they've been doing it since they were created. But not you. You have dominion. You can make choices. You can do things to either increase or hinder your own maturation. We proclaim ourselves as God's greatest. We proclaim ourselves as being made in the image and likeness. But when we experience an undesirable outcome, we get all bent out of shape. God forbid we lose that good job. God forbid we get an unwanted diagnosis. God forbid that somebody decides the grass is a little greener on the other side and moves elsewhere. And don't let somebody that we love, don't let somebody that we're close to make their transition. The first thought that comes to our mind is, where is the eternal blessing in that? Well, God is good all the time, we say. So I ask you, is God good all the time? Or is he wishy-washy like you? You see, the plants and the animals and the stars, they know that every change results in the production of a new life. They are in constant state of migration and regeneration. And so are we. But we are eternally blessed with the ability to change our perception and change our perspective. We can give birth to a new thought. We can be baptized, meaning we can cleanse our minds and bodies and souls. We receive Holy Communion every time we embody the substance and vitality of God. When we repent, when we acknowledge our trespasses and ask and receive forgiveness, we have access to the anointed Spirit of Christ, which is the authority to demonstrate his nature. We can receive spiritual instruction from that still small voice that dedicates us to a life of serving others. We have the opportunity to engage in holy matrimony, make a spiritual commitment, a dedication to the balance of life, to understanding and expression of the unconditional love of Christ. Those tools are called the holy sacraments in Christian parlance. But they can convert any physical disaster into a spiritual enlightenment. The trouble of this world can produce the keys to your kingdom. So when it doesn't look right, when it doesn't feel right, when they aren't acting right, that's your opportunity to demonstrate your eternal blessings. Your current situation is good or bad. It's just a change of perception and a new thought away from revealing your eternal blessings. A quickening of spiritual power, the man said. A quickening of spiritual power will produce your growth, your increase, your abundant prosperity, your miracle healing, and the eternal blessings out of any and every situation. You see, your spiritual growth is simply a new idea of yourself. Your abundant prosperity is when you put value on spiritual knowledge, not material possessions. That miracle healing comes when you have a perception of your wholeness, all of which can be evolved from a state of self-doubt, a consciousness of lack and poverty. All can come out of a terminal announcement from a medical professional. You see, when you pack your bags full of spiritual truth and you decide to leave this plane of material imperfections, some of those that we leave behind are going to feel sad and a little dismayed. But for you, it's going to be a marvelous experience of enlightenment. It's going to be the beginning of your complete understanding of your eternal blessings. You see, the best of all things can never be taken away. The best thing about your eternal blessings is you don't have to go anywhere to experience them. You just have to be still and know. Like Abraham, you need to stop moving from place to place. You need to establish a faith that knows all power is yours to use. The Christ consciousness is ours to possess. One of the biggest truths in this book, it talks about and demonstrates why Jesus, the Christ child, was manifested into our lives. Jesus came to reveal a higher expression of truth. Jesus came to give spiritual guidance and direction. Jesus came to ordain your marriage to love and wisdom. Jesus came to demonstrate power, strength, endurance, and perseverance. Jesus came to teach mastery over the physical and obedience to spiritual power. Jesus came to give birth to the Christ consciousness at any age. The only reason Jesus came was to ensure your eternal blessings. We get to choose. We can allow that disappointment. We can allow that diagnosis. We can allow that suitcase leaving out the front door. We can allow the transition of someone that we love so dearly and will miss immensely to cause us to forget that God's eternal blessings are just that. They're always. They're forever. They will never leave or forsake you. But we have to know that truth. We can't think it's true. We can't even believe it's true. If God is good all the time, we have to know that every experience we have is an eternal blessing. We might have to change our thought. We might have to adjust our attitude. We may have to open up our minds and hearts to get the true meaning of whatever it is we're looking at. But if we believe and know that we are a child of the Most High, we can go around whatever it is. We can go over whatever it is. We can duck under whatever it is. But with a spiritual eye, we can see through whatever it is. And on the other side, there lies your eternal blessings. God bless you.